This is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. First, here are the main news headlines. The Center for Policy, Research and Strategic Studies, CEPRIS, has conducted an opinion poll predicting winners for Saturday's mayoral and chairmanship election. Continuing his testimony into a third day, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Local Government, Buba Sanyang, says they could not include BCC and KMC in their salaries and allowances as the two councils paid their staff beyond the government-stipulated threshold. In business news, the Insurance Association of the Gambia, in collaboration with Continental Reinsurance, on Monday commenced a two-day capacity building training for insurance companies in the Gambia. In international news, we find out why tea is more than just a beverage in China and the most consumed and popular beverage after water. In sports news, more than 100 runners took part in the first ever Pirang Half Marathon and other races in other categories on Sunday. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The Center for Policy, Research and Strategic Studies, CEPRIS, has conducted an opinion poll on Saturday on the mayoral election, chairmanship election, predicting the winners for KMC, Basse, Kerewan and Janjanbureh area councils. Jennifer Sonko has the details.
The Center for Policy, Research and Strategic Studies has predicted that the United Democratic Party will retain KMC, while the National People's Party will win Basse, Kerewan and Janjanbureh area councils. In the rest of the local government areas, Banjul, Birkama, Kuntawur and Mansakonko, the researchers could not predict the outcome because of a significant number, at least 40% of voters, were either undecided or not prepared to reveal their preference. According to CEPRIS, they followed a sound methodological approach using systematic practice in opinion poll research. Dr. Mustafa Jabata, the research consultant, explains.
The method we use in conducting this OP, like I said, is robust. I'll take you through the steps. We do a sampling because you cannot ask, every other potential voter in the Gambia what their views are. So you have to extract a sample from the population. So we did a sampling, and then we designed a questionnaire. The questionnaire would be the set of questions that you're going to ask the potential voters. And then we did a data collection exercise, and finally we analyzed what we collected.
Respondents were asked the opinion on the fairness of the nomination process and the most important issues candidates should focus on during the campaign process. Here's Dr. Jabata again.
The thing that majority said, the three most important things that should be addressed. Road construction is top on the list. Majority thinks that all candidates should address the issue of road infrastructure. And then let's talk about food security as this next most important issue to be addressed, and finally about waste collection.
Potential voters were asked for their take on the purpose of establishing the Commission of Inquiry on Local Councils and vote buying by political parties. This is what the results revealed.
We asked the public about their views on that. One, about its timeliness and whether it is meant to fight to fight corruption, or it is transparent and accountable. So on the timeliness, majority at 55% think that it is extremely inappropriate or inappropriate. The timing is inappropriate. Majority thinks that the timing of this commission is inappropriate at 52%. As you can see on the data, right, on the timeliness of the establishment, you find that extremely inappropriate at 33%. Then you find that on the financial inducement, We have strongly disagree at 59%, disagree at 33%. All of that put together takes you above 90%.
The objective of the poll is to understand the public's opinion on service delivery at local government level, voting behavior, and provide a direction for potential candidates on what issues to tackle in their campaigns. Generally, the findings indicate that the nomination process is considered fair and major issues of concern to voters are roads and food security. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Continuing his testimony into a third day, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Local Government and Lands, Buba Sanyang, says they could not include the Banjul City Council and Kanifing Municipal Council in their salaries and allowances as these two councils paid their staff beyond the government stipulated threshold. Julden Jai has more.
Today's sit-ins focused on the approved salaries and allowances paid to council members and staff, except for KMC and Banjul area councils. It also addressed the National Audit Report on area councils. Council Yakar Cox asked why BCC and KMC were not included in the ministry's salaries and allowances file. This was Buba Sanyang's response.
The other councils like Banjul and KMC, their CEO's salaries have already gone beyond the limit as per the level of the other CEOs. So if we have to regularize, we only adjust the allowances, the required allowance as per the Act. That's what we brought in to adjust their allowances. There were some allowances which were not paid to CEOs. So we just, as per the requirement of the Act, we just bring all those allowances that is an entitlement of a CEO to be inputted. But then the Banjul and KMC, their basic is even way beyond that.
Chairperson Jenaba Basambu asked Mr. Sanyang to clarify the issue of transport allowances given to those with cars.
This was particularly at Brikama, where the deputy chairperson was actually given an official car by the council. At the same time, they were paying him car allowance. So when this was brought to our attention, we asked them to either choose to leave the car with him, which is a privilege, but then he has to, if he's accorded that privilege, he has to forgo the car allowance.
On the issue of councils determining their salaries, Chairperson Basambu asked why the ministry didn't apply the law to address the issue.
The ministry was playing a central role in the sense that the service commission was not constituted, and in default, the ministry was serving that role, and then as such, certain approvals were given at that level. So we look at this and then said we will need a proper study on that of Banjul and KM. But from 2017, when the new government came into being, we advised all councils that they have to now refer all those such issues to the Local Government Service Commission for redress. So any of that has happened after that period, then that will be seen as a deliberate act.
Commissioner Oremi E. Joyner asked why it was a problem for the ministry to enforce certain requirements of the law.
Enforcement, to an extent, I'll agree, has been a challenge. This is because sometimes these laws to be enforced have some people see them as a political witch hunt.
The Commission also highlight issues raised by the various audit reports. In the Kerewan Area Council, it was found payments were made without using the payment vouchers, and that over 300,000 sample market tickets that were issued to collectors but could not be traced, and payments were made without the authorized signatory. In response, Mr. Sanyang says the council mayor or the chairman are meant to address such issues. However, failure to do so allows the ministry to involve the relevant authorities for investigations. In the Birkama Area Council, the report discovered that in 2019, the chairman's salary was increased from 600,000 to over 121,000, and there were unpresented deposit slips. In response, Mr. Sanyang says the ministry was unaware of these irregularities until the audit report was published. The Local Government Commission of Inquiry has been set up to focus on a holistic and fair review of the financial and administrative operations of the councils. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
From that report by Julden Jai, now to some business news.
Participants will be treated.
In business news, the Insurance Association of the Gambia, IAG, in collaboration with Continental Reinsurance, on Monday commenced a 2-day capacity building training for 22 people from the 11 insurance companies in the Gambia. Lole M. Camara was there and filed this report.
The participants will be trained on the provisions of reserves and preparations of the insurance financial account. The theme for the training is provision of reserves and preparation of insurance final account. Makaira Bajan, the president of the Insurance Association of the Gambia and managing director of Royal Insurance Gambia Limited, explained the need for having such trainings.
What we call reinsurance reserves and accounting, that is taken as the theme, because we have a breed of younger generation actually really coming on that needs to really be very much knowledgeable as far as reinsurance is concerned. So that's why we chose this topic, and they agreed to come and actually really provide us training on this. So at the end of the day, the participants would actually leave very well equipped as far as reinsurance, accounting, and reserving is concerned.
Odimasi Onwa-Juegbo, the regional director for Continental Reinsurance, Anglophone West Africa, spoke on the importance of the theme.
I've had a lot of cases where insurance companies come to us as the reinsurer and tell us there's a big loss that's happened. Please, we want you to assist us. We need money, we need cash calls. This is because proper reserving has not been done. So when you write a risk, let's just say, for example, you write the road construction in the Gambia now. That risk is probably about 100 million. You have to reserve in the event that something happens and the entire road is gone. So that's why we decided to come in and educate underwriters as to the need to properly reserve when you underwrite businesses. Now we move into technical accounting. For treaty accounts, there's a way you submit statements through bordereaux. We've come to realize that these statements that we receive are not quite where we want it to be. So we've decided to introduce that as a second topic to the Gambian market.
According to research, insurance plays an important role in the general economic growth of any society, as they develop financial institutions and reduce uncertainties by improving financial resources, safety, and security in a form of cover against any sudden loss, be it life or property. Isa saw a participant representing Capital Express Insurance Gambia Limited shared her expectation.
Reinsurance, as we know, is something that is very necessary in our today's business, and as such, for different participating companies, it would help boost the way and manner in which we get reinsurance done and accurately as well. So, to cut long story short, it will only help us to be much more effective in terms of our reinsurance arrangements and treaties.
At the end of the 2 days, participants are expected to be more familiar with the theme, so as to be more productive in the field of insurance. The Insurance Association of the Gambia was formed in 1987 by insurance companies operating in the Gambia. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
From that news about insurance, now we go for a commercial break. And when we return, we still have some more local, international and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
The Gambia National Coordinator and Co-Chairperson of the Africa Women Leaders Network, Muna Jawa, is pleased to inform the general public on behalf of the steering committee that the Gambia will be launching its national chapter on the 16th of May 2023. The event will take place at the exquisite Coco Ocean Resort and Spa Hotel and would be graced by His Excellency Adama Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. The Africa Women Leaders Network was constituted in 2017 by the African Union and the United Nations, supported by the Federal Republic of Germany and South Africa at the UN General Assembly. The network is an African-wide movement of women for the transformation and development of the continent through women's dynamic engagement and participation in decision-making at all levels of society in line with the Africa Agenda 2063 and the Global Agenda 2030. 32 countries have launched their national chapter, and the Gambia is proud to be the 33rd. The event will be attended by a high-level delegation led by the AU Special Envoy and dignitaries from around the world. Together, we can create a brighter future for women in the Gambia and across the African continent.
Inco Home Choice. Home Choice. Bagage bu baax mooy def liggéey bu baax te wóor te soo ko jëndee dina la yóbbu ci diir bu yàgg te du gaaw a yàqu. Inco Home Choice ñoo leen indil bépp xeetu bagage yi judduwaay yi ngeen mun a jëfandikoo ci seeni métier yi.
waaw ñun Inco fii leen di jëndee suñu bagage yi Inco lañ yombalee bagage yi dañ ko baax quality bagage lañ leen jaay moo tax ñun liggéey bu ñoo def electrical plumbing boo ji Inco fii leen di ñëw Brikama ñu jënd suñu bagage ñu bàyyi ko ba ci stand Serekunda fii waaye fii leen di ñëwee bagage lu waral loolu Inco dañ yombalee bagage number 1 number 2 seen bagage yi dañ baax dañ quality
bagage yu si mel ni power tools accessories bench tools generator yu baax welding machines ak small construction equipments muy bagage yu baax yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo bu ngeen ay samp ay kër.
Because Inco mo fene dila bagage quality sa guarantee bi dila bagage nyasa nimi sa tije imita fengo min nada Inco ma soto janga man Gambia janga ma soto folo den nga ñoo ma koy akolera nya wonyandi mbe nga wuli nga na Inco nga bagage sa
seet si leen ñu si suñ maakaan yi nekk ci biir réew mi foofa sa Jimpex Kanifing Sukuta Jabang traffic light ak Brikama opposite Joko night club wala ngeen call ñu ci 532 5773 wala 341 7619 wala 739 8863 wala 303 9300 wala nga email ñu incogambia@gmail.com. ak Inco Home Choice jafe-jafe ci wàllu bagage yi ngeen di jëfandikoo ci seen métier yi jeex na. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. As they prepare for the 2023 Hajj in Mecca, intending pilgrims attending orientation programs with Tuawan Travel Agency have spoken about their experience with the Hajj operator and their plans for their spiritual journey. Babakar Sise tells us more.
These intending pilgrims will be in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia next month to perform the fifth pillar of Islam, Hajj. At their weekly Sunday sensitization program, they said they are prepared and ready for the task ahead. Idrissa Bajan is one of them. Hajj is very important because it is the fifth pillar of Islam. You should do it if you can. My children paid for me, so I am going and will pray for them and my country. I am also exercising by walking and not using transport. I have taken all my injections as required and all my papers are ready. The only thing left is departure. Absa Toure is from Latrikunda, German, and her pre-existing condition did not dampen her spirits in this spiritual journey.
I was nervous at the beginning because I have arthritis and my legs pain. But I am not worried anymore, and I am very optimistic. I thank Allah, my family, and the one who paid for me. May Allah bless them. Tiwawan Travel is a good company.
Ababakar Cham, a resident of Nema Nasir, is still wondering which anonymous person paid for his Hajj package.
Basically somebody, a very great Muslim, has paid for me and has requested myself not to know about who has done it for me. You will see that I keep on believing that wonderful people are still around, because you need to be a very great Muslim to do things like that. When I've been told that this is what happened, I say yes, I might not know him, but certainly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows him, and I let him into the hand of Allah, inshallah. In every meeting, it has been coming regularly. Let people try to stick by the guides. The guides are here to help them.
Awasen Jai is forever grateful to her employer and fully prepared for the Hajj.
Trust Bank nak ñoo yobuma ma kontaan ci.
Trust Bank has paid for me, and I would like to thank the managing director and the management and pray for the progress of the bank.
Meeting bi amna important bu baaxa baax.
This meeting is important because I know a lot of things that I should do during the Hajj. We also must be disciplined and take advice from our guides.
Ya nga topa li la sa guide yi wax.
Basiru Lee, a Hajj guide for Tivaouane Travel and Tours, commended pilgrims for their compliance during orientation sessions.
It
is a one-time journey of a lifetime. We have told them everything about Hajj, and all our male and female intending pilgrims are complying. That's the essence of sensitizing them. Let them comply with the guides and the Hajj Commission. Officials of Tivaouane Travel and other guest speakers also graced the occasion to sensitize intending pilgrims on issues relating to Hajj. The event was held at Tivaouane Travel's office at Complex Ya Aida in Latrikunda, German. Babakar Sise, QTV News.
The end of that report now takes us to international news. It is estimated that every day 3 billion cups of tea are drunk around the world, making tea the most consumed and popular beverage after water. Thanks to its discovery in China, the world enjoys this popular beverage, which has transcended time for millennia. In China, tea is more than a beverage. It has been an art and a culture for a long time. QTV's Mohamed Lamin Choi reports from Beijing.
In the teacup of every Chinese, there is a culture and frequently an art. Being the birthplace of tea, China and its people love and have been loyal to their teacups for thousands of years. Evidently, Chinese consumers drink approximately 40% of the world's tea, much of which is produced domestically. In this country, tea is part of people's daily lives.
We cannot live without salt, we cannot live without rice, we cannot live without oil, and so on, and also we cannot live without tea.
The history of tea explains the tea art and culture in China. Archaeological evidence suggests that tea was first discovered in China as early as 6,000 years ago. Legend has it that Shen Nong, referred to as the Chinese divine farmer and the inventor of agriculture, discovered tea.
It's the three sovereigns in ancient Chinese mythology. He is the god of agriculture and herb medicine.
Shen Nong reportedly had a long day searching edible grains and herbs in the forest and accidentally poisoned himself 72 times while he was wearily sitting under a tree before the venom-poisoned grains could kill him. The wind blew a small leaf which drifted into his mouth. Desperately, he chewed the leaf and got relief from it, and thereon, tea was discovered. The same Chinese tea plant is believed to be the one grown around the world today. In ancient China, tea was the subject of books and poetry and the favorite drink of emperors and a medium for artists. That spirit sails through to modern China, in that tea presents symbolism in the people's art and culture. It reflects values of modesty, harmony, community, and respect. Visit a Chinese home or office and you will be first greeted with a cup of tea. In social events like marriage ceremonies, newly wedded couples serve tea to their parents as a sign of respect. Tea has some spiritual elements in China. Chinese tea farmers worship their god of tea on occasions such as tea festivals.
Chinese culture, in fact, is Chinese life. We all do this every day, so it becomes a culture.
In accordance with natural conditions and local customs, tea has been developed into 6 categories: green, yellow, dark, white, oolong, and black teas. There are more than 2,000 tea-related products in China, with a variety of colors, aromas, flavors, and shapes. In November last year, China's traditional tea making was added to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage. For centuries, tea has been one of the most widely traveled commodities globally. In Africa, tea is mostly cultivated in the eastern and southern parts of the continent, accounting for 30% of the world's exports, which amounts to 500,000 tons of tea. Globally, tea has been a bridge connecting China and the world. In fact, Chinese presidents have used tea in many diplomatic engagements in what is called tea diplomacy. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News, Beijing.
Well, I'm afraid we've been given a knockout blow when it comes to time. Thank you very much. That's all in QTV News tonight. Join us again at 10 for another bulletin.